The rain started the night everything changed. Not soft rain, not romantic rain, but the kind that feels like the sky is breaking apart. Adrian Blackwood never believed in destiny. He believed in contracts, in power, in numbers, in control. Love? Love was for people who couldn't control their emotions. And Adrian controlled everything. At 33, he was the youngest billionaire CEO in Manhattan's financial district. Cold eyes, perfect posture, a voice that made men twice his age nervous. He built empires. He destroyed competitors. He never apologized. But that night, something cracked. The girl under the streetlight. It was 11:47 p.m. when Adrian stepped out of Blackwood Tower. The glass doors closed behind him like the sound of a vault sealing shut. The city glittered below, soaked in rain and neon reflections. His driver hurried forward with an umbrella, but Adrian stopped, across the street, under a flickering streetlight. She stood there, a girl in a thin gray coat, soaked, holding a folder tightly against her chest like it was the only thing she owned in the world. Cars splashed dirty water near her feet. She didn't move. She didn't beg. She just stood there, trying not to cry. Adrian didn't know why his chest tightened. Maybe it was the way she was fighting her tears. Most people broke loudly. She was breaking silently. And that felt familiar. The traffic light turned green. She tried crossing, but slipped slightly on the wet pavement. Without thinking, Adrian stepped off the curb. "Sir?" his driver called. But Adrian was already walking toward her. "I'm used to storms." "Careful." His voice was steady, calm. She looked up, dark brown eyes. Not weak, not desperate, just exhausted. "I'm fine," she whispered. Her lips were trembling, not from fear, but from cold. "You had an interview?" he asked, nodding toward the folder. She nodded slowly. "They said they'll call." He knew that tone. They wouldn't. "What's your name?" "Lina." Full name. Lina Hart. Hart. Interesting, because those eyes didn't look protected at all. "Where are you going?" he asked. She glanced at an empty bus stop. "Home." "In this weather?" She gave a small, tired smile. "I'm used to storms." Something about that sentence made his chest tighten. He removed his coat and placed it over her shoulders. She froze. "I don't need charity." "It's not charity," he replied calmly. "You're freezing." The driver pulled the car closer. "Get in. I'll drop you." She hesitated. "I can't pay you. I'm not a taxi." That almost made her smile. Almost. She got in. 2 worlds in one car. The inside of the car was warm, silent, expensive. She sat stiffly, as if afraid to touch anything. Adrian watched her from the corner of his eye. Her hands were rough. Working hands. Not delicate. Protected ones. "You live alone?" he asked. "With my mother." "What does she do?" "She used to sew clothes." "Used to." That word carried weight. "She's sick," Lina added quietly. He didn't ask more, but he understood struggle. Just a different version. They stopped in front of a small apartment building with peeling paint and broken stairs. She stepped out, then paused. "You'll want your coat back." "Keep it." "I'll return it." "You won't." She looked at him curiously. "Why?" "Because I won't see you again." The billionaire tone returned. Cold, detached, safe. She stepped closer. Close enough that rain mixed with her soft vanilla scent. "I'll see you again, Adrian." He didn't smile, but something inside him moved. Fate laughs. 3 weeks later. Boardroom. Glass walls. City skyline. 10 executives seated. "Next candidate." Adrian said without interest. The door opened, and time froze. Lina Hart walked in. Simple white blouse. Nervous hands. Determined eyes. Their gaze locked. Recognition. Shock. Electric tension. "You," he murmured. She swallowed. "I told you I'd see you again." The room exchanged confused looks. Adrian leaned back slowly. "Why should we hire you?" She looked directly at him. "Because I don't quit in storms." Silence filled the room. One executive whispered, "She's not from a top university." Adrian didn't break eye contact. Neither was I. Decision made. You start Monday. Her eyes widened. She nodded. Thank you. Earn it. But as she left the room, Adrian realized something dangerous. He was curious, and curiosity leads to attachment. Attachment leads to weakness. The girl who wasn't afraid. Lina worked harder than anyone. She stayed late, asked smart questions, never used their first meeting for advantage. And most importantly, she wasn't afraid of him. One night, he found her asleep at her desk, paperwork scattered, laptop glowing softly. He stood there longer than necessary. Her face looked peaceful in sleep, younger, softer. He placed his jacket over her shoulders. Again, history repeating. Her eyes fluttered open. For a moment, she forgot he was her CEO. Then she remembered. Sorry, I didn't mean to fall asleep. You're not paid to die here. She laughed softly. You really don't know how to be gentle, do you? No. Then why did you hire me? He stepped closer. I don't know. And that terrified him. The rival. Power attracts envy. And Adrian had an enemy. Victoria Lane. Beautiful. Elite. Daughter of a powerful investor. She expected to marry Adrian someday. Not because of love. Because of empire. When she saw Lina walking beside him during a late meeting, something dark sparked in her eyes. Who is she? Victoria asked coldly. An intern, Adrian replied. Victoria studied Lina carefully. Simple clothes. No jewelry. No pedigree. Oh! Victoria smiled thinly. Temporary. But Lina heard that, and she felt the class difference like a blade. That night, she cried quietly in the restroom. Not because Victoria insulted her, but because she realized something terrifying. She was falling for Adrian, and girls like her didn't win against women like Victoria. The breaking point. Adrian began noticing things. He noticed when Lina skipped lunch to save money. He noticed when she took phone calls about hospital bills. He noticed when she hid her tears. One evening, he followed her after work. She entered a small pharmacy, came out with medicine. He waited, then followed her to the apartment building. This time, he went upstairs. She froze when she saw him at her door. What are you doing here? I don't know. Honest. Scary. Inside, he saw Lina's mother lying weakly on a small bed. Medical equipment. Cheap furniture. Struggle everywhere. Adrian felt something he hadn't felt in years. Helplessness. He quietly paid for her treatment the next day. Anonymously. Lina never knew, but she noticed something. Hospital bills cleared. Doctor suddenly cooperative. She suspected. She confronted him. Did you do this? Do what? Help my mother. He stayed silent, and silence confirmed everything. Tears filled her eyes. I didn't ask you to save us. I know. Then why? He looked at her for a long moment. Because I care. But he didn't say it. Instead, he said, because I can. Wrong answer. She stepped back. I don't want to be your project. And she walked away. The accident. 2 weeks later. Heavy rain again. History repeating. Lina was crossing the street after leaving work early. She was distracted, thinking, heart confused. A speeding car didn't stop. Screech. Impact. Darkness. Adrian received a call at midnight. Hospital. Emergency. His heart stopped. He drove himself. No driver. No umbrella. No control. When he saw her unconscious on the hospital bed, machines beeping, bandages, blood, something inside him shattered. He held her hand. For the first time in his life, he prayed. Don't leave, he whispered. Hours passed. Finally, her eyes opened slowly. Blurry. Weak. She saw him. You stayed? His voice broke slightly. I'm not leaving. And in that moment, walls fell. Masks dropped. He leaned forward and pressed his forehead gently against hers. I love you. Silence. Monitor beeping steadily. Tears slid down her temples. I was so scared, she whispered. So was I. The price of love. Victoria didn't stay silent. Scandal spread. Headlines questioned Adrian's relationship with an intern. Investors pressured him. Choose carefully, his board warned. Love or legacy. For the first time, Adrian chose something irrational. He stood in the boardroom and said calmly, "If my company collapses because I love someone, then it was never strong." Silence. Power shifted. Victoria walked out. Engagement rumors died. And Adrian walked straight to Lina's hospital room. "I chose you." She looked at him with disbelief. "You could lose everything." "I already almost lost everything." He touched her hand. "And it wasn't my company." 1 year later, the same rain, but different night. Lina stood under a streetlight again, but this time she wasn't alone. Adrian stepped beside her, umbrella open. "You still use the storms?" he asked. She smiled warmly. "Not when I have you." He kissed her forehead softly. Not like a CEO, not like a billionaire, but like a man who finally understood. Love is not weakness. It is the only thing stronger than control. And for the first time in his life, Adrian Blackwood wasn't afraid of the rain.